top of it and pulling towards it, I'm pulling away so that if it does rip, it's just ripping the edge. I got stuck together. And not the actual painting. So I don't know if you can see this that well, but this is starting to rip a little bit. But it's just the bottom. I'll probably trim that off anyways. You wanna make sure your hands are kind of clean too, because you can see I got a fingerprint on there. Obviously I didn't push down the tape enough right there because it is bleeding down. So there must have been a little air bubble. So now, so that's not perfect, but it's okay. So even with sticking it to my pants, it's still got a little bit stuck. See, I got a fingerprint there too. Oh man. And if you wanted to add a little to the moon, you know, because the moon isn't just solid white, it does have some craters and stuff. So now I'm gonna do an even darker or a different color of green. I'm gonna mix it with blue. There's still a little bit of wetness to this. So if you can wait, but just for the sake of the demo, I'm gonna keep going. So I'm gonna use my green and I'm gonna pull some of that and put it in this lid of the palette. And take some blue. Just so that the color is different. And then I'm gonna do a third swoop. And it should be darker or a different color. So I could add more blue. And then like I did before, I'm just gonna, I'll use my small brush. And these trees are gonna be even bigger than the trees in the middle because they're getting closer to the viewer. So I'm gonna add more blue to it just so that there's more contrast. This is almost just like straight blue. So if the second layer is still wet when you do your third layer, the trees get really cloudy. So it's kind of turning into a blob. So that's why you would want to wait. So I'm just gonna dry off my brush, then go in between these trees, and wipe my brush. Excuse me. So I'm picking up some water with my bristles. I'm trying to keep the trees from becoming blobs, but I should have waited longer, so that's my fault. Because you can see how crisp these lines are, these trees are, as opposed to these trees. So that's an oops on my part. I could blot. Try to pick up and then redo it. So let's see. So maybe it's a little bit better, but not much. So if you can wait to do the third one until it's totally dry, you might want to do that. All right. So let me pull the tape off of this. So once again, you might want to wait until it's totally dry before you take off the tape so you're not getting fingerprints or smudges or bleeding or any of that. And I'm pulling away. This is pulling up the paper. Guess my pants weren't fuzzy enough. Then, like any artist, you want to sign your work and you want it to end lined up with the right side. So oh wow, this one got really messy. All right. So then you're going to cut them down the middle. With watercolor, if you have clean water, sometimes you can pick up some of that extra paint that's on there. So let me get a clean brush. clean water and see if I can get any of that up. But this is me just being picky. All right, so I'm just gonna trim around the top and the side so that all three of these borders are the same. And then on a Polaroid, the bottom is a little bit thicker. But maybe I'll just trim it a little bit. So is it perfect? No, but I used my techniques. I like how this one turned out. I'm gonna wait to trim those two later once they're a little bit drier. All right, so those are the two trimmed, and then these ones are still soaked, so we'll wait to trim those until later. So by the end of this, you should have 4 different little Polaroids, and you can trim them once they dry. So as usual, if you have any questions, feel free to message me, text me, email me. We can set up a time to meet. But let me know how this goes.